David's Sling/Arrow family. In a region of constant threat from rockets, missiles and drones, protection of civilian life demands more than walls and shelters. For the state of Israel, the stakes are existential. To defend its people, it has built one of the world's most advanced layered missile defense architectures. From short-range rockets launched from dozens of kilometers away, to tactical ballistic missiles and cruise missiles reaching hundreds of kilometers, there is no single solution. Instead, Israel developed a tiered shield. At the base sits the Iron Dome, designed to stop short-range rockets and artillery shells. Above it operates David's Sling, the medium-range interceptor. And at the top sits the Arrow family, long-range, high-altitude, even exo-atmospheric interceptors. Today we explore how these systems work, individually, collectively, and what they tell us about the future of missile defense. Short-range layer, Iron Dome. The first layer, the Iron Dome. Designed for rockets, artillery shells and mortars fired at ranges up to around 4 to 70 kilometers. When an incoming projectile is detected by radar, the system rapidly assesses whether its trajectory will hit a populated area. If yes, an interceptor missile is launched. The radar tracking, battle management and launcher all work together in seconds. Deployed in 2011, it has been hailed as highly effective in protecting civilian areas. Its role is critical to handle the mass launch of rockets and artillery shells that would otherwise overwhelm higher layers or cause unacceptable civilian loss. But the Iron Dome has its limits. It's optimized for short-range threats, relatively slow speeds, and rockets coming from nearby. As threats get heavier, faster, and further, a gap begins. What intercepts heavier missiles or cruise missiles at ranges beyond 70 km? That is where David's Sling enters. Medium-range layer, David's Sling. Introducing David's Sling, sometimes referred to by its development name, Magic Wand. The system was developed jointly by Israel's Rafael Advanced Defense Systems and the U.S. Raytheon Missile Systems. The purpose? Fill the gap between short-range rocket defense and the highest-tier ballistic missile defense. As described by analysts, medium to long-range rockets and missiles, cruise missiles, heavy drones, etc. Unlike Iron Dome, which intercepts a rocket and detonates a warhead, David's Sling uses a hit-to-kill interceptor, striking the incoming threat with kinetic energy. How it works? Radar detects incoming threat, ballistic missile, cruise missile, heavy rocket. Battle management calculates trajectory, assesses if threat for higher value asset or population. If within its engagement window, the stunner interceptor is launched. Interception occurs at altitudes and ranges beyond short-range systems. The system became operational in April 2017. For example, in July 2018 the system downed a rocket fired toward Tel Aviv. Recent upgrades enhance performance, preparing for future threats. In short, David's Sling is the middle shield, the buffer zone between the barrage of rockets and the long-range ballistic missile threat. Long-range layer, Arrow family. At the top of the shield sits the Arrow family, built to intercept long-range ballistic missiles, even outside the atmosphere. The Arrow system, developed by Israel in collaboration with the US, comprises Arrow 2, upper atmosphere engagements, and Arrow 3, exo-atmospheric/space intercept versions. This layer defends against the highest threat tier, medium-/intermediate range ballistic missiles, warheads, threats arriving at high speed and altitude. At these levels, the window to intercept is narrow, reaction times tight, and technology must perform perfectly. The Arrow family is thus the strategic backbone of Israel's multi-layer defense, providing the uppermost shield. Integration and architecture of the multi-layer shield. The genius of Israel's approach is not just 3 isolated defense systems, but a tiered architecture, each layer optimized for a different threat class, each feeding data into the next, working in concert. Short-range, Iron Dome, handles rocket artillery when time is minimal and target zones are within 70 km. Middle-range, David's Sling, takes on threats beyond that range, heavier missiles, cruise missiles, drones. Upper range, Arrow, deals with long-range ballistic missiles, warheads, even exo-atmospheric threats. This layered concept reduces risk of saturation. If one layer misses, the one above can engage. If the threat is beyond one's capability, the next layer handles it. On-screen graphic. Threat envelope versus system envelope, showing rocket arcs from near, medium, far altitude. The radars and C2, command and control, nodes merge data, multi-sensor fusion, tracking, threat classification. The system must decide, will the threat hit an inhabited zone? At what layer should intercept occur? Success depends on timing, accuracy, cost-effectiveness. For instance, protecting large urban populations requires higher confidence. Interceptors must be cheaper than the potential damage of the threat. The system has matured over years. Tests culminating in operational use declare David's Sling ready in 2016/2017. The architecture thus forms what military analysts call a shield of shields. Real-world use, challenges and case studies. The real proof is in operational use. In May 2023, David's Sling achieved its first confirmed operational interception of a rocket from the Gaza Strip headed toward Tel Aviv. Analysts credit the architecture with intercepting up to 99% of certain attacks when layered systems combine. Yet challenges remain. Cost per interceptor is high. Saturation attacks, hundreds or thousands of rockets, can stress the system. Decoys and cruise/ballistic missiles with complex trajectories are evolving threats. On-screen text, cost per interception versus cost of damage. Also, each layer requires constant upgrades. In March 2024, upgraded David's Sling went through new scenario tests. Another challenge, threats may come from unexpected angles, from sea, air, land, from drones, cruise missiles. The system must adapt. The broader geopolitical implication, Israel's missile defense architecture is now studied internationally. Several countries are buying or evaluating these systems. The bottom line, defense is never static, threats evolve, technologies must stay ahead. Future outlook and conclusion. Looking ahead, the layered shield is evolving. Israel is developing the Iron Beam directed energy laser system for lower-cost interceptions of smaller threats. Upgrades to Arrow and David's Sling continue. In an era of hypersonic missiles, swarming drones, cruise missiles with sea-skimming profiles, the complexity is increasing. The shield must become smarter, faster, more economical. For the people living under its umbrella, the importance is plain. Every successful intercept is not just a technological success, but lives spared. In a volatile region where threats evolve, one nation built not a single wall, but a system of walls in the sky, layered, networked, and persistent. From the short-range rockets raining from nearby, to cruise missiles and ballistic warheads launched from afar, the shield holds. The story of the Iron Dome, David's Sling, and the Arrow family is not just about missiles. It is about readiness, innovation, and protection of civil society. And as the threats of tomorrow loom, the shield will continue to adapt.